Welcome back to Late Night Snacks. Today we're discussing my Roanoke nightmare. Bum, bum, bum. We will be discussing the real story of the lost colony of Roanoke, and we will be discussing some of the opening credits, the teasers, the end credits. Well, there is no opening credits, so we'll be discussing about that, how there is none. But with that being said, I am your beautiful host, Irish Melly. Right here is the beautiful Dewanda.
Hey, everybody.
Right over here is that guy somewhere.
Oh, there he
is.
And Miss Debbie's in the house. Woo-hoo.
Hey, Debbie. Debbie's still on her lost.
Debbie's still on her lost kick. I
no,
think
Debbie, not lost the show, but the lost colony. Oh, Harry's here.
Harry's here.
Harry, I told you to put some clothes on.
Good grief, Harry, put some clothes on. Hey, B.
He's here. Hey, B. Hope you guys are all doing well. We will go ahead and get right into this, and we will start telling you a little bit of backstory on the lost colony of Roanoke. For those of you who don't know, the lost colony of Roanoke was a real colony that really did get lost. So there is some truth to that in American Horror Story, just as many other seasons. But with Ryan Murphy's own spin kind of thrown on it. So we're going to fill you in today on the real story of the lost colony of Roanoke. It's a mystery that's intrigued Americans for centuries. What has happened to the lost colony of Roanoke from North Carolina's Roanoke Island? The settlers who arrived in 1587 and then they disappeared in 1590, leaving behind only two clues: the words Croatoan carved into a fort's gatepost and the word crow etched into a tree. Theories about the disappearance have ranged from an annihilating disease to a violent rampage by local Native American tribes. They've done previous digs that have turned up some information and artifacts from the original colonists, but very little about what has happened to them, where they went, where did they go? They just disappeared. And one of the theories about an annihilating disease is that the New World microbes from them moving over here from overseas, the New World microbes in the Americas that would have attacked them, that their bodies were not used to or had no immunities to. When they arrived, there was 17 women, 11 children, and 90 men. This was actually the third group of people to come to colonize in Roanoke. The first one, they didn't do so well, and they shipped back. The second one was a group that came 2 years prior to this group. They came in 1585. But it had been more of a military-based type of operation. So there was not really women and children. It was mostly just men, and they were out to try and colonize the land against the Native Americans. Now, when they came, they had actually, in 1585, that second group that came, they'd actually been basically run off by Native American tribes that had fought with them and sent them packing, basically. So when they came back in 1587, they came with 17 women and 11 children, hoping that it would seem more like they were there to colonize. They were there to set up roots. They weren't there to take over anything. It was not a military action type of thing, because they didn't want the same thing that happened the second time to happen this third time. Now, scientists believe that in the time of crisis, hitting the colony, that they may have split up into smaller groups and dispersed, because the group from 1585, this is what they had been told to do if anything happened in a crisis, a form of a crisis. They were told to split up and break up like that. Now, it would have been the only way that they could have survived, was that the only way they could have survived is they had to somehow, these smaller groups that broke off, they had to have assimilated into some of these tribes. Or they broke up into the groups and they maybe just possibly got lost while they were trying to find the next closest town, which they had already known of. They said that none of the Native American tribes would have fully taken in this group. Like, it couldn't have been the group as a whole, because there were so many people that they would not survive in any single Indian tribe or village, because they could not have supported over 100 people. So that's why they really think that they had to have broken off into smaller groups and sects, because, like I said, this is what they were told to do with the previous expedition.
I always thought there was only one group.
No. This was the third one. John White led the second group, and John White also led the third group. Now, we know from there, the rest of the story goes is that John White left and went back to for supplies. Yes, he went back for supplies. And now it was a few years later before he came back, though. I mean, and you have to think, obviously, in the 1500s, they're sailing on ships on these on the oceans and everything. And, so that would take a lot of time. Not to mention, he then, when he returned, he was propositioned by the queen or the king at the time to create more ships for battle. And like, he was actually sent out with a fleet of ships for battle. So he wasn't able to get back right away. Whereas then when he finally did come back, this is when he found that no one was there. Everyone was gone. And he found the words Croatoan and the words crow. Now, the reason they say that they broke off into smaller groups is the word Croatoan was actually a town, a port, and this is the one that I said they would have known of the town. So they would have then been traveling to try and, if they were run out by Native Americans or disease, they would have been trying to find somewhere to go. And this is where they would have gone. And that is why the words, which I didn't even know until looking into this, that is where the word Croatoan was etched into the post. And then the word crow was etched into the tree, or carved into the tree. And that was signifying it was just a short version of Croatoan.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yes, it gives direction.
Yeah, exactly.
They made it, though. So now, why are they considering them lost? Was there no documentation of them throwing up anywhere? Did John?
They disappeared. They found a few things left at the like their little village area, their little encampment and things like that. They did find some things left behind, but they never found a single person, a person's body. They never found the bones. They weren't, when other people went on expeditions and went to these tribes or met with these tribes, there was no sign of them assimilating with these tribes.
Yeah, I think they were slaughtered.
And I guess in the days of the Roanoke colony, relations with the local Native Americans were very mixed. So it depended on which tribe it was. It depended on probably how you greeted them, how you reacted to them, because if you were hostile. I mean, we also have to think that at this time, white people are starting to come in and take over the Native Americans'
Mhm.
land by force. They're raping their women, they're murdering their men.
Yeah.
And this really happened. So it's understandable why they would possibly attack, or why they would be hesitant to even try to communicate, let alone assimilate with these people.
Yeah. But they obviously weren't slaughtered there at the camp.
Yes. Um,
I mean, were they like led away somewhere else and
Probably.
killed?
Or probably misled away to safety or whatever, and then slaughtered somewhere else.
yeah, and the group that arrived prior to the colonists, that's the 1585 group, they were driven back to England. Which meant that the ill-fated third group of colonists showed up. Some sour feelings remained.
Mm-hmm.
It should not surprise anyone that the Secretarian would want to be done and get rid of the English.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think happened. Because who knows who did what to anybody on the tribe, and piss somebody off, like I said, raping their women or killing one of them, and all of a sudden, the whole tribe goes against them. A lot of bad blood.
So now what they're wanting to do to try and answer some of these mysteries and some of these issues is, now with the technology, modern technology that we have nowadays, we have ground penetrating radar. They don't just have to go out there with shovels and try to dig these holes. And that's the thing, is that they need to go in and they need to dig holes, a lot of them. And they're just going to have to explore. That's the only way they're going to find anything.
And they haven't done that because of financing and
well, right, and because they've tried many different digs in the area, but it was modern technology at the time was not allowing them to get as far in an advancement as they are now, or able to now.
Yep.
I can't read that. What do you say?
Yeah, he's agreeing with me that they probably were killed.
Yeah. And that makes sense too, that if it was an attack, they would not have left survivors, maybe the children, but they would have then taken the children on into their own tribes.
Right.
But I could also see them slaughtering the children, because you have to remember, these white men came in and slaughtered their women, their children, raped them, brutalized people, stole from them, burned their villages down. I mean,
yeah, why let the children grow up to become the white men that would do it all over again?
Right.
Yep. Hashtag steady Roanoke.
Steady Roanoke. What?
I can't read that for some reason today. Yep.
I made it smaller. I can make it bigger again.
Well, that's what makes this such a horror story. That's why it's always like, because of the mystery. What happened? Which is probably just very historically what happened.
And they're searching now for anything that affects like a magnetic field. A local magnetic field, because that's what they're using now. They're able to use magnetrons and things like that. And they're looking for things that would be like old burn pits, old pottery, like, and by pottery, I mean like pots and pans and cast iron things and metal things that they would have used, obviously. And then again, with the ground penetrating, that's a mouthful, radar. They're gonna use a proton magnetometer to enable the researchers to double check their GPR findings, because they've been doing the GPR recently. So they're going to use this technology to verify it.
What is their thesis, their scientific need to find out what happened?
Well, and it says that what they're trying to do now with the technology, they can actually spot metal objects 13 feet underground.
But what are they trying to prove? What do they want to?
Are they trying to prove that it happened, or are they trying to find them?
I think a little bit of both. I think they're trying to find out overall what happened to these people. This is one of America's biggest mysteries, oldest mysteries. You know what I mean? Is what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke.
So basically,
so even if it didn't affect anything that we find, let's say we find all the answers and it doesn't affect us one way or the other, but it's still the knowing, because this is one of the, like I said, the oldest mysteries in America. Like what happened to this over 100 group of people? I mean,
to just disappear.
they
Yeah.
just disappeared. There was no sign of them, no trace of them. Like there was stuff left behind, but there was no trace of where they went. There was no paths, there was no tracks, there was no nothing. But you also have to remember how long it was before John White came back.
Yeah.
We don't know if these people disappeared right after they dropped them off, or if it was a year or two in. Yep. And I highly doubt that. If they ran out the last group the way that they did, even if he needed supplies, he never should have left. They should have still had enough military force there to protect these people, knowing what they had dealt with in the previous,
I just find it fascinating that when these archaeologists and these scientists and stuff are doing these ancient type digs and research and stuff, is the thesis that they always go behind. And I wonder if they're having problems funding just on the I want to know thesis. I'm just curious what happened, or are they still going on it on the basis of like these Native American tribes and what was their cultural significance and their behavior, and looking at it on that angle to see if they can learn anything from that. Because these things aren't easy to fund.
No. Well, and they have found some things, like they found their iron cannons that they had at the site that were acting as like giant antennas for what they were looking for. They've found graves and coffins that are detectable. They haven't actually dug them up. They've detected them. And they know that they're graves and coffins because they contain voids with different like densities and pore properties than the surrounding soil.
Yeah. Well, one day we'll know. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Oh.
Maybe people have said, conspiracy theories of aliens and shit.
And it says the process had begun. What was it? They started this process. So I'm sure there's up-to-date information. I should have looked for that. But they started this process around 2013, like mid 2013, early 2013. So, I mean, with it being 2020, I would like to think that there's, obviously we would have heard, we found the answers to Roanoke, but that hasn't happened yet. But obviously they have found something.
It's a matter of funding.
Right.
Yep. But the mystery is the horror of it. That's why we're seeing this topic on our show is, oh my God, 100, all these people could go missing in just one shot. What the hell? When it's probably nothing horrific. Interesting. Anyway, so brings us to the show, season 6. Wow. Starting off with this crazy ass marketing campaign, which some people loved, some people hated. Some people were disappointed because and
that was the thing. I think you either loved it or you hated it. There wasn't an in between.
Yeah, because I think some people like change and welcome change, and some people just are abhorrent to it. And this was such a departure, such a change.
It was
from everything that we're used to. Because remember, the first 5 seasons that came before had the exact same marketing campaign. You had your cast photo that came out of all the casting costume. You had their big teaser that was revealing like the sort of the theme, and then you had a cast teaser and all this. It was all formulaic up to Roanoke. And Roanoke, they threw everything out the window, and part of it was because of the theme of the show, and part of it was
quick. I just want to say hi to Blaze. Blaze is here now. Hi, Blaze.
We had another one too.
Hope you're doing well, hon.
We had another one too earlier on.
Oh, Cola Coven was here. I think she's still.
Oh, okay. Hey, Cola. Sorry, I was reading. I didn't see you.
We didn't want to interrupt her.
So when they decided this campaign, Ryan just decided, let's do something completely totally different. And what's completely totally different is not advertise the show. Advertise just something generic. And that was completely totally different. We did not get a cast reveal. We did not get the theme. We did not get a subtitle. We didn't get a proper teaser. Nothing of the regular campaign.
Nothing.
What we did get was this really enriching, because I watched them all again today, is all we got was some print ads with just some pictures, and then we got this teaser contest. They were releasing a whole bunch of little shorts, these little like 30, 15 seconds to 1 minute little shorts.
I think there was a total of 12 of them.
There's no. There was 24 of them. They selected like 12 or so of them in a
there was a lot.
There was a lot.
And
They wanted to
Really?
confuse people. That was what they wanted. They didn't want anybody to know what was going on.
If you look at it, if you're a real true diehard horror fan and you looked at this campaign, basically what they did was they paid homage and they paid tribute to so many different films and genres of horror, and that was their way of basically, just like saying thank you. Like we had the Creature from the Black Lagoon spot, you had a Wicker Man spot, you had the the Signs, the crop circles spot, you had the Silent Flame spot,
We had all of that.
Hills Have Eyes, Leatherface, all of them were in there. And they were so done in all that genre. Like the Creature from the Black Lagoon one had like all this 50s writing and everything. It was neat.
Yeah.
It was a fun
And
campaign.
everybody was stoked. They're like, are we finally getting our slasher season?
Yep.
Which we ended up getting, last year. But yes.
All we kept seeing over and over and over. In the beginning, I don't think we were even seeing AHS. All we kept seeing was .6.
That was it.
.6.
And it was a .6 done up different ways.
Yeah.
Yes, a bunch of different ways.
A bunch of different ways.
So then these teasers lead to a contest. And this is kind of where people either really went all in or really lost taste for what they were doing. And the contest was they released 12, or they selected 12 of these shorts and these little teasers. And I did too, BRT. I absolutely love this campaign. I thought it was so much fun.
I did too.
They released 12 of them, and they said, you guys vote and pick which one you think is the actual theme or represents the actual theme of HS6, and we'll announce it after the premiere.
And I actually got it right.
I forget what the winner won. The winner won some significant something or other.
Yeah, I actually got it right.
What did they win? There was some big contest.
I have
I want
to
to like Kodak or something.
But
was it?
I
Oh,
did
was it a set visit?
I did guess it was a set visit with the cast, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, so the winning one was the nurse cutting the teeth off of the little strings, which we know in the first episode we
Like
had
scissors or something.
we had the rating teeth, which was never explained and never went back to. By the way, it was just kind of shoehorned in, and then we had the nurse.
All they said was props.
Well, yeah, they mentioned something about it, but it wasn't major.
Yeah. So basically, what we got, we knew before. Those of us that were following American Horror Story, we knew before because there was a set leak that showed Croatoan. What Mel just explained, there was the tree that had Croatoan marked in it, and so everybody knew this was going to be a Lost Colony season. We didn't know what it was really going to be about, but we knew it was going to be Roanoke, and because of the first season and her mentioning the Croatoan and all that, during Billy mentioning all that,
Billy Dean.
we knew that this was. We thought too after these connections in Hotel and Freak Show that they were starting to connect the seasons together. Remember back in the day, we were all gossiping and thinking, "Oh my God, is this a connection back to season 1?" Because of the whole Croatoan thing and Billy Dean. So we thought this is going to play right into that whole connection thing.
The whole what was it? Her vision for the apocalypse.
Correct.
Right.
And
the end of the world.
What we got in the end was we got a found footage based reality show season, and they did it. I God, this season is so unique. I love it so much. What they did was they did a tribute to reality show / found footage. Because remember, around this time, found footage was a huge deal in horror because it was cheap to make. And the real scary ones were really successful. I mean, immensely successful. Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity.
Oh God, the Blair Witch started the whole found footage thing.
Some of those initial films,
very relatable to Roanoke, the way they did it.
I had a hard time watching that because
it was
too shaky.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
I remember I saw it at the theater, and I remember they have warnings because of the shakiness, and they told people, take Dramamine before you go.
I was one of those fools that believed that mess from the start. I thought it was like a real deal, that whole marketing campaign.
Yeah,
but
you were supposed to.
Yeah,
it worked.
They wanted to capitalize on that. They wanted to capitalize on and reality show TV was big then too. It was, we had everything. We had everything kicking off. You had the Real Housewives and the Duggars and, 16 and Pregnant and Honey Boo Boo. All that mess was going on really big in its height during this phase. What was it, 2000? When was Roanoke?
16. It came out in 16.
16.
Huh? 16. Yeah, 16. So this was the height of reality TV. And so what they did, which I thought was so unique, is first off, we got this is what everybody was pissed. Right away, it goes, it just opens. The show just opens. There's no American Horror Story anything. There's no nothing saying American Horror Story. Nothing.
No.
It just opens up with an interview, and you're like, what the hell? And then you get a title card after the cold open that just says "My Roanoke Nightmare," which we come to find out that this was a reenactment show.
There we go.
About a story about somebody who bought a house in the Roanoke, in the area of the Roanoke colony, and we've all seen those found footage shows. Sex took me to the ER.
Right. I love that show.
Yeah, the real actors.
My guilty pleasure.
The real people telling their story. The yeah, the real people telling their story like in an interview fashion, where you have reenactment actors reacting or recreating their story, their actual real story, like a movie. And so they did one of those shows, and that was the first 6 episodes. Is they did that? That was supposed to be watched as a TV show of that, not American Horror Story, not anything else. My Roanoke Nightmare. It was a TV show all in itself, and so there was some confusion in the beginning. We thought, is this even American Horror Story? What
I know there's people who still won't watch it because of the confusion.
Yeah, and the fact that we didn't have an opening sequence that we always used to have. It's like something was missing and
code word.
One thing we did get was that the end credits were all black, but it played the song. It played the AHS theme, and that was kind of your hint that it was an AHS show. But we go through this first 6 episodes that were just like its own encompassed show. And every week, we're going to get the opening this week. We're going to get credits this week. There's going to be a twist. It's going to be all revealed. And no, it was its own show. When we knew at episode 6, we knew there was a conclusion. The My Roanoke Nightmare was over. We knew it by the time that episode ended that it was done. And we knew that, episode 5. And then we knew at episode 6, there was going to be a big turn. And I thought when it was going on, they were just going to show a separate show from My Roanoke. I thought we were going to get 2 different types of shows.
Because they kept promoting how at episode 6, it was going to be this big thing.
Yeah, this totally different thing. And I thought, well, it's not going to have anything to do with Roanoke, right? It's just going to be like, maybe we'll get The Hills Have Eyes, or we'll get one of those other teasers, and he'll go back to what he wanted to do originally was to have anthology stories. And I thought that would have been neat, but no, that's not what we got. We got the reality show portion of it, which was so much fun. I was like, oh my God, it was so much fun. They took My Roanoke Nightmare.
You put Debbie's last comment up there.
And now called it Return to My Roanoke Nightmare.
3 days in hell.
Is 3 days in hell. And basically what we find out is they want the real life people plus the reenactment actors all going back to live in the house, and they'll film them 24/7.
This is when people got confused.
Yeah, this is when people were like, what the fuck am I watching? What
if you weren't already, you were like mind fucked by the time you got here.
I thought it was brilliant. I was applauding that.
It was very meta. Which I enjoyed.
Back during the Blood Moon, where when they filmed the show the first time around, they did it in the summer and nothing happened.
Then they said, let's do it during this time that's supposed to kill everybody, because that's smart.
It was brilliant. Yeah. I was so happy when that happened. I was dancing. I was celebrating. I was dancing up and down. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. This is Ryan Murphy's opus genius. And so, like Don was saying before, this is the I love it or hate it season. You either absolutely went on board and loved this idea, or you were like, no, I'm out. And I loved this. This still made me one of my favorites.
I hated it.
See, and I loved it. I
loved it. I was confused, and it was hard to keep up sometimes, but I loved the story. I loved the idea of it.
And I tell you,
multiple times, it's great.
Upon rewatch, this is one of the best seasons to binge.
It is. I do definitely recommend to people, if you have not rewatched Roanoke since you watched it live, I would binge watch it and watch it again, because
this season has aged really well.
You can watch it back to back, and you're not forgetting little things that happen because it's been a week.
And it makes
a big difference.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if I rewatch Asylum or rewatch Coven, it's like sometimes it gets long and it gets to be this big process that you're just going episode by episode. To rewatch Roanoke, it's fun. It rewatches really, really well.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So then we
You're
get
right.
Episodes 6 through 9.
6 through 9. Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 4 episodes. And then that's over. We knew that was going to be over. We're like, but there's still the finale. So now we thought, oh, Lord, now they're going to do some twist and it's all not going to make sense and we're going to be so confused. No. Instead, what they did was they took multiple genres of the found footage reality show type TV and just did a bunch of little mini shows to show us what happened. to give us the closure, to give us the finale, but in the same season 6 fashion. We're going to do this through reality TV. So we had a news program that showed the trial that happened. Then we had a Ghost Hunters, where those shows were really, really big, during that year as well. We had a Ghost Hunters show going back to the house to ghost hunt and show what happened. So if you follow a certain character's story throughout the whole thing, it makes perfect sense as a season. It's absolutely brilliant as a season when it's all said and done. It just was presented to you in a totally new, unique fashion. And that's what I think is brilliant about it. That's why I think it was so original.
Yeah, and you're right, Debbie. I think Kathy did have an amazing time playing this character, and especially when we know Kathy, how she is a very methodical actor.
Yeah, she stayed.
Oh my goodness! So that means when Agnes is going up and down Hollywood Boulevard with a meat cleaver, Kathy Bates really did that. You guys have to understand, she did that and freaked people out.
Yeah, because remember Misery. People were freaked out because of Misery.
So that she could stay in character and then they could get the response from people around them.
Yeah.
Because she stays in character.
You're just a normal person. What's the one thing you're going to know with Kathy Bates with a freaking hatchet screaming? You think Misery. Yeah, oh my God. That's the chick from Misery. Yeah, so
I have to give Cheyenne Jackson major props because I freaking love him in the season.
Oh, he carried that whole second show, that whole Return to Roanoke. So
yeah,
what was interesting about this was the way I felt about it. You had one story that was the real actors, one story that was the reenactors, and they were all playing same role. So like you had Lily Rabe and you had Sarah Paulson playing Shelby. So
Shelby Miller.
What I found while we're watching it is sometimes I liked the actor, and sometimes I liked the reenactor better.
That accent, though,
weird.
but
like
we
Mama
digress.
Pope.
We'll get into that next time.
Yeah, like Mama Pope, I liked a lot better as the actor and as the reenactor and not the actual person.
Right.
It's just who played it better, kind of thing. But I can't say enough about it. It was great.
We could talk about this forever.
And we will because we're gonna do a part 2 and a part 3 for you guys as well.
What I did think that was great about this, that I was completely wrong about, is I thought that when it came out on streaming or home video, they were going to put an opening credit on it. They were going to package it as American Horror Story. Yeah, cock-a-doodles, dirty bird. But they didn't. They always presented the show as it aired. They've never presented the show any other way.
Yeah. So that about wraps it up for the Lost Colony of Roanoke.
What this show did is it opened the doors for fans of American Horror Story to never expect anything. That's what I like about it too. Never expect
what you're going to get.
Expect the unexpected.
Yep, absolutely.
With that being said, we have brought you guys the Lost Colony of Roanoke, and we talked about the numbers. So let's get our wand of the day.
We're still on our Celtic calendar.
Yes,
we have Holly. This is the Hollywood one. Once again, another George handle. That's Cho Chang's shaft there, but the Holly one. And these calendar days are, I gotta look it up. I didn't memorize it. Holly. July 8th. So we're almost here to August 4th. Holly.
We're getting closer, Dawn. Getting closer to your birthday. With that being said, we love you guys. We love you for being here, and we will see you guys in the next one. Good night.
Go the fuck home. Get out. See ya.
Why are you here? We'll see you next time. Bye.